Hello. My throat is already closing up. Welcome to my channel. I am sitting in a pretty dimly lit room with two dogs, so if you hear them making some noise. Yeah, I was not planning on recording at all, to be quite honest. I was sitting here about to go into meditation and I heard push record, so here I am. I don't know why, but the dogs' names feel important. One of the dogs is Hydra and the other is Mako. Sharks have been coming through so strongly, and I believe Hydra, the star system, is represented by the snake or the serpent. I have to check. But like reptiles have been coming through in general, so yeah. And there's something about like the reptilian brain, fear. Like sharks invoke a lot of fear in people, generally speaking. Yeah, something. I had a different video planned actually that I've been really wanting to get this one theme, and it's like every time I go to want to get that out, it's like something else is kind of taking precedence or like wanting to come out first. So that could be a message in itself. Maybe someone keeps trying to like focus on one thing, but then there's like other more pressing matters. I don't know, something like this. I actually I just put a face mask on, and my skin gets pretty tight when it's my second time using this sea moss gel on my face. So if I start to speak a little bit more like restrictive, that is why. Maybe I'll pause if it gets a little bit too difficult to speak. Okay. Anyway, I just was cleaning washing my face. And I had like a sudden change of plans. I was pet sitting, and the woman who I speak with messaged me like 4 hours before. She basically was like, yeah, her son was coming unexpectedly, so I could leave, like a 4 hour, like 3 or 4 hour heads up. Leave early. I was supposed to stay another day or so. And I feel like I've been hearing people like have similar experiences where like they are getting like last minute changes, last minute redirections, etc. So that could be happening and or coming up pretty soon. Anyway, so when I got back here, I was meditating, and then I decided to do the face mask. So I went into the bathroom and I had Deja Vu like almost immediately. So Deja Vu could be relevant. And I've talked about this before, I believe, I'm not positive. When I was getting deeper into my own intuitive channel, I asked like what Deja Vu was for me. Anyway, I don't mean like just for me, but I think there are many facets to Deja Vu, and I've heard lots of different perspectives. So I just want to say that this is a perspective and something that for me sort of comes through, and I do check in like every time, because I have Deja Vu quite often. Of course there are more periods of my life where I have it more often, but I have been experiencing it since I was a child. And I remember I still lived in my first house, so I was under 8, and I remember my mom used to work at night and she would get ready, and I like would never sleep when I was a kid at nighttime. So I used to like hang out with her in the bathroom while she would get ready. And I was like, Mom, and I was describing what I was experiencing, and I was like, do you know what this is? And she was like, oh, that's deja vu. I'm not sure why I'm telling this, but of course, deja vu is a French word, and looking up the original meaning of the translation, I'm pausing because I'm looking that up just to feeling that you've already experienced something. I pretty much already, I knew that. I just wanted to make sure it was exact. So yeah, deja vu. Yeah, I've definitely spoken on this channel about this before, but it's coming up again. So when I tuned in, I think this is around 2018, 2019, to see what deja vu was, I was shown that deja vu, again, from my perspective. And like I said, I will tune in and each time it happens to see if there's something new or a different reason. But generally speaking, deja vu from my own high self was being expressed as like being in alignment with sort of what I set out as a soul to experience. Like, and it's funny because a lot of these moments are like quite mundane. It's not like, I have it when I'm getting like the most exciting thing in the world. I mean, it can happen like that too, but generally speaking, like, I was just washing my face, but it's like the whole time frame, like it's almost like when I have it, it lasts like anywhere from like 3 to maybe 15 seconds. And it's just like, whoa. And I just get this feeling, and I like know what's going to happen for a second. And that feeling like it's already happened type of thing. So yeah, it always comes through for me as like you clicked into your highest blueprint, keep going kind of thing is how it sort of presented. So yeah, if you're someone who has deja vu or has had deja vu, feel free to like reminisce or reflect and go and just see if that maybe rings true for you. I'd love to hear from you, maybe what other perspectives that deja vu has come through. Time travel, the idea of time travel can be significant here. So I was talking about fear in the beginning, and when I heard to push record, right before, I was going back into meditation after I put on the face mask, and I felt called to do like a light language transmission. And before I felt called to do that, I asked how I could sort of be of service, at least energetically, at the moment, because there's a lot of, that like Plutonian energy of shadow coming to light, uprisings, fear, inclement weather all over the place, tsunamis, tornadoes, warnings, earthquakes. So I'm seeing the constellation Hydra again. I just heard Adam and Eve. Interesting. I am pausing. Okay, so Hydra, I'm reading something from a Google search, held great significance for a number of ancient peoples for whom it symbolized the forces of darkness to be conquered by the light. Interesting. So yeah, that was talking about like illuminating shadows, so there could be a call for some of you here that feel connected to Hydra, or maybe you will, to dive deeper. It also says the myth of Hydra was a serpent-like water monster with 9 heads. The Nagas could also be significant for someone. I'm also seeing a divination practice. I actually don't know the name of it, but it's something that I remember. My friend just messaged me and Hello Kitty came up, so that could just be like, I don't know, a sign or a synchronicity for someone. Felines in general have been coming through so strong lately, but we'll get there. Hydra. The Nagas. Yeah, so there's this show, Family Constellations. Family Constellations has been coming through a lot. I've actually never personally partook in Family Constellations, but it's been coming through. And there is something on the Family Constellations is also a show on Netflix, if you've seen it. I believe it's a Turkish show that I watch the subtitles, or they do a voiceover. They do a voiceover. Anyway, there's a divination practice that they do on there, and I can't remember the name, but that is coming through. I can look it up. And then there's also runes, utilizing like runes for stones, runes specifically in reference to like working with land. There's also a movie, I think it was called Stardust. My mom and I used to love watching this movie. I'm with Michelle Pfeiffer, and it was a book first. It might even be a Neil Gaiman book, which I did read a Neil Gaiman book before. I don't know why he's coming through, but the author could be significant there. Anyway, there's something about, utilizing stones, runes. There could be other things people utilize, but that's what I'm seeing the strongest in terms of land. So it could be like direction, finding ley lines, rods, and dowsing could be significant. But there's something about like communicating with the land. I think I've mentioned this before, but it's coming through again. I was guided one time when I was flying to, where was I? Kansas. I had a dream to go to Kansas, so I went. And I was guided to like go to this store. I like didn't even know it existed, and I walked by and I heard go inside, and there were runes, and I was really guided to buy these runes. And I was shown to work with the runes by this river. Yeah, so there's something about that, communicating with land through, again, dowsing, rods, stones, crystals, runes, etc. Rods and staffs. There's also, I'm seeing like the rods and cones and eyes. Interesting. So someone here may be seeing colors more brightly lately, or maybe that's something that's coming up for you. There could be something significant that you're researching about rods and cones, something about this. I did make a short speaking on phosphine, so that could also be coming up. I'm really allowing these pauses to come through because I feel them very deeply, and I was just releasing through my throat as I said that. Orbs can be really prevalent right now, particularly blue, shades of blue. Okay. I just heard speckles of light. Yeah, okay, so coming back to the when I was about to go into meditation, or I was in meditation, and a few people that I've spoken to really recently, there's just, again, a lot of that fear, even just like seeing it around, walking the streets, you know what I mean, just in general. And then when I showed up and I asked, you know, how can I assist the most right now? I was taken to like the devas, the sylphs, a few other realms, if you will, coming through. The clouds have been coming through significantly so much lately. And if you're listening to this and you're like, what are you talking about? That's okay. Yeah. So anyway, the feeling that I was sort of just sitting in was, you know, that idea of being the calm in the storm, etc., sort of allowing any chaos, fast-moving changes, fear, foundations falling, etc., to just like move through me and to me and around me, and allowing like the crystalline liquid light consciousness to sort of permeate through. And so this could be an invitation for anyone who is listening to, I just got tingles on the crown of my head. My timer went off for the face mask, and simultaneously an ad came on. I have like music on my friend's TV. And it just like all of a sudden was like everything at once. And in the ad there were owls, stars, something about crystals. Anyway, yeah, it was like everything at once was like the timer was going off, the ad came on like literally within the same second, and then it cut off the audio recording. So talk about that fast moving energy. I am seeing Eight of Wands and like references to, you know, the devil. So like the devil card in tarot, the archetype of everything that comes along with that has been like repeating the last few days. The Tower card in tarot, and I heard the Star. So lots of major arcana. Also like the Two of Swords is coming through, the Two of Pentacles. Yeah, there's like a lot of the Three of Pentacles. So it just feels Uranus in astrology. Yeah, these like quick moving energy. Now, of course, wherever you are in your own consciousness, for lack of a better word, you know, I truly believe it's up to us how we deal with this. So, and it's not in a way to say like things won't be happening that are uncomfortable, even if you're super comfortable with change. Like I'm someone who I think most of the time I like change, generally speaking, most of the time. You know, it doesn't mean that things still can't feel a little bit chaotic, and so it's just, especially when you're really, you know, attuned to what's going on in the atmosphere, in the cosmos, in the collective energy. So yeah, this is just, I think, a little reminder, tune-up, wave of liquid light to receive reminders to maybe do a little bit more cleansing if necessary. The water element has been coming through so strongly. Utilizing water, practices to just really, this came through a personal session, and I'm feeling it collectively, like cooling. There's so much like fire energy, you know, like heat, anger, etc. rising through. Yeah, so to just really utilize that water element and cooling effects. Like this face mask felt very cooling on my face, and like rejuvenating. So things that, you know, can help bring you back to center, if you will. Yeah. And with all, I just heard tide pool. A tide pool. Yeah, so really just allowing yourself to show up however is best for you. And I like to say all the collectives upon which I'm connected. That's just something that works for me. But yeah, there's another pause. I'm just going to tune in a little bit deeper and see I just heard like Greyhound bus station. Very specific. Maybe someone here is taking a bus, but travel or short-term travel can be coming up, you know, like bus travel. But metaphysically, I did not mean to say that, but okay. Metaphysically, a bus and a Greyhound. all of a sudden the energy just like slowed down. Like I almost feel like I'm speaking in slow motion. Schedules could be coming up. Redoing schedules. I was talking about that, like things sort of changing last minute. So there's something about like staying on top of your schedule. If you're not someone who like does schedules exactly, just in general, like it's interesting. It's like slowing down when you need to, but also like as these changes come in, continue to like update, you know, your mental process, your emotional state, like update everything so it stays in that centered, more of a centered place. As I said that, like the wind picked up outside, and the winds have been pretty crazy here. So you could be experiencing wind, going outside and working with the wind, of course, only if it's safe for you. And maybe you're already doing this to kind of cleanse and clear your energy for yourself and any other intentional places and spaces that you feel called. I was looking up. In a spiritual context, a greyhound often symbolizes speed, grace, nobility. That's with an N, nobility. Loyalty, and sometimes even salvation due to its historical association with hunting. Its elegant appearance and its depiction in literature, like Dante's Inferno, where it represents a force for good that can overcome evil. So interesting, because I was talking about this like devilish Luciferian, and yes, I know like the devil and Lucifer and Satan, like they each have their own like imprint. It's, you know, people use them interchangeably, but there are differences, but it still to me represents that whole overcompassing, like shadowy depiction. Dante's Inferno actually reminds me of someone, because they referenced that to me before a very long time ago. So there also could be like someone from your past, sort of, you may not be in contact with them, but there could be like just someone that you feel like is thinking of you. or they're just like coming up maybe in your dreams, maybe in meditation, or maybe just you're seeing things that remind you of them. It could even be more than one person, but yeah, I'm not getting anything specific, just to acknowledge that and to acknowledge your own intuitive feelings, if you will. And now, looking up bus. In a spiritual context, a bus often symbolizes the journey of life, representing the collective movement towards a shared destination. With a bus ride itself signifying the various experiences and phases one encounters on their life path. It can also indicate a feeling of being part of a larger community or following a common direction, as, quote, bus is derived from omnibus, meaning for all. Oh, so yeah, the omnipresence. Even though things look and feel quite chaotic right now, it does feel like this omnipresence of expansion in a lot of people's auric fields that have been retrieving these key codes and whether it's conscious or subconscious, if you feel like you are someone who has clicked into your blueprint in some way, it feels like there's this expansion and coming together of these groups. People call it like soul families, soul connections, however you'd like to label it, or not label it is fine. But it does just feel like staying in that centered calm right now. I think, and whenever I say that, I don't mean like you can't have wavering emotions or anything like that, but it's always about like bringing yourself back into that centered space the best you can when you carve out those moments, even if it's just like a few deep breaths a few times a day, however it works for you. Okay, I did not plan on making this very long. I'm being asked to just anyone who wants to stick around for a little collective moment for just sort of anchoring in that calm, serene, centered space into the collectives upon which we're connected. That keeps coming up. Into the organic grid structures, into the crystalline consciousness, into the 12 solar discs, seeing the auroras, and for the highest timeline of the Aurora Ascension timelines is also what's coming through. And I do plan on continuing to dive deeper into these topics over time in different audio. I do go into it deeper in Patreon as well. But if anyone has any questions or anything to say, please feel free to comment and or reach out to me in some way. Okay. I'll invite you to close your eyes. Someone here may be practicing one eye meditation. So maybe one eye stays open and one eye stays closed. Maybe you flutter your eyes. There's something about trying new ways of tuning in. And so, you can also feel free to do that. If you've never heard of it and that sounds good to you, you can try that. I remember a little while back I heard someone, I don't remember who it was, but she was saying that one eye meditations are one of her favorites because it's you're half in the spirit world, if you want to call it, and half in this realm. And then so it's sort of, sometimes I will cover my one eye and leave the other eye open, and the darkness in the eye that's covered will fill with light from, there's just really fun ways to play with this. So I'm seeing a bat. So bats could be significant. Maybe someone here is upside down or in inversion. It's totally fine as well. I actually miss inversions. I used to do them more often. Maybe that's something I'll get back to. Okay, back on track. So, there's also been a lot of, like I said before, Okay, I did pause, so if I'm not leaving off exactly where I was, my apologies. All right. So yeah, you can just get comfortable for a moment if you would like to join this. Maybe tune into your breath. I'm going to take a few deep breaths and feel free to join. Water. Maybe someone here is drinking water, or maybe someone is needing a reminder of hydration. Yeah, okay, the stellar nations, that could be relevant for someone. It also came through a personal reading the other day. And I have tuned in a little bit to the stellar nations. I probably am being called to dive deeper into that, but sometimes you may have heard me say this before. I'll hear like a roll call of different realms, beings, collectives that just sort of are infusing their energy in the present moment. So yeah, the Antares Stargate, the Lupin, they're like alleged bipedal wolf beings. I know that sounds, yeah. Anyway, I didn't expect them to come through. Echolocation can be important in some way. Yeah, like radar. It's funny because bats were coming through. There's something about that. I believe dolphins also use echolocation, and dolphins have been showing up really heavy the last few days. Hemisyncing, working with both hemispheres of the brain, and in general, like the integration of polarities within the body, within the earth, has really, really been highlighted. Okay, let's now take some breaths. You can take a breath in through the nose and just continue to like inhale and sip air through the nose. Maybe pulling in your belly towards your spine. Continue as much as you can hold the air, the oxygen. And when you're ready, you can just like really exhale it out. And this time we're going to invite in a pearlescent stream of light, of crystalline liquid light. The Mahatma white golden energy. I am actually making a tincture. Hopefully this week. I just ordered something that I needed to make it. So I probably will be making it available for purchase. If anyone's interested, I'm most likely going to be working with ORMUS Gold and Blue Lotus together. Well, definitely those. I may add other things, but so far. So yeah, if that's interesting to you, it should be ready within like a month, a few weeks. Okay, so we're gonna do a little bit more breath. And any other, I'm seeing shades of pink as well, any other color, sound, light that comes through for you to infuse within this collective imprint. For doves can be significant. I feel like doves have also been coming through. Peace, serenity, tranquility. It's just like a lot of this being cultivated, infusing in with this crystalline liquid light. And I keep hearing the word imprint, and this imprint and the ripples allowing it to permeate through the ripples. And another breath in through the nose, and we'll do the same of sipping in the air. And just maybe allowing your spine to become a bit more straight, pulling in the belly button towards the spine, feeling anything in the body, in the subtle bodies, just being filled with air, with oxygen, with all of the other frequencies that we are weaving through and calling in, anchoring. And this time as you breathe in, we're going to imagine it just like dropping through into the crystalline core of the earth, bringing it back into the earth. Any places that you feel called to connect with energetically, it will be different for each of you. Any Stargate locations, just simply setting the intention for the highest good through the unconditional love template. I'm just going to do a quick little light language transmission. If you're someone who also transmits light language, feel free to join in. And if you aren't familiar or that's not something you do personally, anything that you feel called, repeating a mantra, I'm just hearing you're encouraged to just use your voice in some way. Sing a song, say a poem. Yeah, anything that you feel called to do. If you play an instrument, you can pause and utilize the sound that way. Okay, one more breath in. And this time just hold and squeeze, hold and squeeze. Squeeze any tension melting away. Seeing like the polar ice caps. And then just let it go. Ondora kasa yanoro shianta kosamandia kosishi yanodora yandara kasiano toroshnia. Antaraya sishianto kontianara shentianoro soshiamai. Siantoro ukian tiashianto soshiamea. Koreasum gun yarakasi shako. As I was tuning in, my eyes were closed and I'm seeing like DNA strands, like the double helix popping in. So focusing on DNA, your own cellular regeneration, things like this are coming up. I'm seeing the number 44, master numbers, 144. I heard frequency tones. Anyway, I just wanted to say thank you so much. And if you stayed for this portion, for infusing your energy in the collective intention I set for this. I know sometimes just I'm using air quotes, showing up in this type of way can feel like maybe we're not doing enough. So yeah, continuing to just show up in energetic spaces, as well as when you feel intuitively called to show up in other ways, in what feels good for you, is something that I hope each person gets to do for themselves, and for others, of course. And yeah, there's also something that keeps coming up as well about like leading by example. So this like idea of stepping into this paradigm, what we're calling like the new paradigm of leadership by leading by example, and staying true to yourself in that way. I just felt like a really deep heart pang go through my chest especially on the right side. All right, so that deep over usage, over masculine, like needing to force, push, etc. Yeah, it felt like this transmission was also infusing into that over usage. I keep getting that phrase or that word, over usage. And something about like energy hygiene and conservation, so that like when you do feel called to take action, however that looks like for you, even if it's something like this, that we're coming from a space of that more balanced, rested, rejuvenated space. Okay, well, that's all for today. I don't believe I'll be doing an overflow on Patreon for this. This just felt like a collective recentering sort of transmission. All right, well, thank you so much, and that's all for now.